In a bombshell revelation on TalkTV, Reform UK's Richard Tice exposes Labour's hypocrisy. Angela Rayner, the woman of the people, owns 3 luxury properties while ordinary Brits struggle. Labour prioritises illegal migrants over British citizens, with judges ordering hotels to stay full. Billions wasted on council pensions while our nation faces collapse. Labour has betrayed working-class Brits. First off, a massive cheers for all the support. After our last shout-out, the channel picked up 2,000 new subscribers in under 10 days. Absolutely brilliant. We honestly didn't see that coming. We're buzzing about it, and it's given us the push to aim for the next milestone. 10,000 subs. So, if you haven't jumped on board yet, hit that subscribe button and join this little family that's growing thanks to you. And don't forget to check the description. We've popped a few links down there if you fancy supporting us even more.
To work. Where do you want to start with? Should we start with our Ange? I mean, it is extraordinary, isn't it? All the newspapers across the weekend. My favourite on the front of the Daily Mail today, which will fuel reform, is Labour civil war fueling Rayner sleaze crisis. We found out last week that the woman, who is a grandmother, did start in a council house in Stockport, now has an £800,000 duplex apartment. I don't know what duplex means. In Hove. It cost 800 grand. There have been questions about where did you get the deposit? What about the stamp duty? Are you playing the game to make sure you don't pay council tax or stamp duty on your 3 properties? Over the weekend, it transpires that the ex-boyfriend, the ginger one that might have been doing the boat, I've no idea, he worked for a company that got a big contract from maybe her department or the government, that this lady who purports to be a woman of the people used a wealth management company. Today, the Mail are saying, Labour's in meltdown. She's after knifing people. People are after knifing her because, in fact, even the Labour Party has woken up, Mr Tice, to the belief that Starmer's no good for them and the whole thing's falling down.
They've woken up to that. I wonder where, when Angela wakes up every morning, does she know which of her 3 homes she's in? Because she tells her constituents that her main residence is in Manchester, as well as telling the council authorities in Manchester. She tells the HMRC and the tax authorities that Brighton is her main residence.
Yes.
And then also in terms of doing her job during the week, she says that London is her main residence. So which is it?
Absolutely.
It's pretty extraordinary. Anyway, look, in reality, the country's in a terrible state, and everybody, I mean, look at their poll rating, down at 20%. The last poll that we have just seen, people have had enough. And that's before you go down to the migrant crisis, the judges, Mr Bean.
Oh,
you
mate,
couldn't make it up, could you?
I've got
you
it
actually
all for
couldn't make it up.
But I just wanted, the reason I wanted to start with Rayner is, during the last election, they made a massive thing, this Labour Party, about, you know, growth. Well, they've destroyed all that. But more than that, for the working man and woman. And yet here we have perhaps the obvious example of the darling of the unions, a woman, a single mum from the north who'd made good, and I used to think that.
And that's good. It's good to be aspirational. It's good to make money.
Of course, with her nose in the bleeding trough. She called the Tory scum as bad, if not worse, than all of those put together. And that, for me, to any Labour voters, is an abdication of what they said they believed in. It's all lies.
Well, it's just the hypocrisy that we have seen from Keir Starmer to others in the Labour Party, and the Deputy Prime Minister, she's at it as well. And we have to be clear that what she's done has not broken the law.
No.
But in her position, morally, it's pretty extraordinary to say to 3 different parts of government, this
started with mothers saying, we're concerned about our teenage daughters. There's a migrant hotel next door. There's an alleged assault that's in court, so we have to be really careful. And this has just gone through the roof. And we have a situation now, right, where a government in this country can quite conceivably be accused of going against the wishes and safety of local indigenous people and preferring the rights of migrants. I want to play you, I hate this person, but there you go. I want to play you Bridget Phillipson. She was on the show you were on yesterday. This is her on where she and her government place asylum seekers against Brits. Have a watch.
It is about a balance of rights. When people come to this country and claim asylum, we have a responsibility as a government to assess their cases and to process them. For those who have got a clear right to be here, for those who have evidenced what they are facing in terms of persecution, refugees, then that will be decided. Where they don't, then we will take action to remove people from the country. So we do have a responsibility to process those cases. And yes,
and
to
the
provide
responsibility to those asylum seekers is more important than the responsibility to those who live locally.
Our responsibility to those who live locally is also important as well.
Also, an afterthought. People are furious.
I mean, it was a shocking misstep, and Trevor Phillips asked the right question, but she had to say what she said because the government lawyers instructed by the Home Secretary, part of their case to the learned judges led by Mr. Bean, learned judges led by Mr. Bean, was that actually that actually the rights of the migrants took preference, outweighed the rights of local people. That was literally what their case was made up of.
Now, we're talking about Mr. Bean. This is Lord Justice Bean, who delivered Friday's landmark Court of Appeal judgment. Transpires they've done a bit of digging, and an eminent KC has decided to report him to the Judicial Board, the Judicial Conduct Investigations Office, because it transpires that Mr. Bean was chairman of the Socialist Fabian Society between 89 and 90. Is best buddies with that disgrace of an Attorney General, Lord Hermer, who was behind the Lucy Conley incarceration. And yet, so you sit here and you think, we did this on the radio all last week, and we're all waiting for this judgment thinking you're surely not going to go against the people of this country. And he must have been sat in number 10 Downing Street, Keir Starmer, knowing it was a wrap because one of his left-wing buddies, human rights lawyers, was going to give him the answers he wanted. What does it message that send to the people, Richard?
It sends a message that this government is on the side of people who come here illegally, criminality. They're not on the side of British citizens. And in a sense, because the Home Office won't adopt Reform's excellent detain and deportation plan and detain people in remote detention centres away from residents, that's what they should do. If they do that, then you can remove people immediately from the hotels. But because they won't do that, they're left with no choice but to leave the hotels full. And this is a government that has pretended they want to empty the hotels and then instructs expensive lawyers and barristers to say, no, we want to keep the hotels full, please.
For me, it's really easy to get embroiled in the arguments, but you say it correctly. They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be in hotels. They shouldn't be in houses. They should have been stopped from coming here. They should have been processed and not allowed to set foot. And I watched Nigel last week. I was mostly concerned that
into some cupboards, unlock the cupboards, and I've discovered, and it's in the Telegraph today, Jeremy, that guess what? I've found between 6 and 8% of all annual council expenditure in all our councils every single year is available to be saved.
6 to 8%?
Between 6 to 8%. That's between £1 billion and £1.5 billion every year.
What's that being spent on right now, then?
At the moment, none of us like overpaying for a job to be done. Even worse is overpaying for a job to be done badly. But I've discovered both. Would you pay 5 times the going rate for a bad job, Jeremy?
No.
Of course not. So I've discovered that, and it's a pretty sort of unsexy thing, the local government pension scheme. Billions and billions of pounds. Well, guess what? The rich city investment managers are being vastly overpaid, huge fees, to do a bad job. They're underperforming the standard average benchmark index that anybody sensible would use. And yet no one's looked there before. And
why have they not looked there? Help me out. Why would not common sense prevail?
Either because they're incompetent, or it's the vested interests. So a nice cosy gravy train culture has emerged. We can all scratch each other's back. We can all look after each other, take out a load of fat fees from the advisors and the consultants and the lawyers, and no one cares about the performance. No one's going to hold us to account because they'll always listen to the advisors. Well, I tell you what, Jeremy, we are calling it out. I've got a press conference at 11 o'clock. I'm exposing this scandal. It's an absolute outrage. That's just 13 councils. Multiply this across the whole of England and Wales, local government pension schemes. You're talking between 9 and 11 billion pounds every single year.
And that'd be enough to pay the doctors, wouldn't it?
Well, actually, what it would be enough to do is create a world-leading social care provision.
So you're
for
saying
our elderly
that reform
residents,
could
our
cut
vulnerable residents.
So you're saying that reform